Okay, I think we can begin now. The admitting seems to have come to a standstill, so we can start, I think. Any parents joining us, I'm sure the ladies will admit them later on. So welcome, and thank you all to the parents that have joined us. It's really lovely that you can take the time to be here with us to share some information about what next year is going to look like. We're just going to go through some information that you might find useful, and then I will introduce you to the new heads of year 1, 2 and 3. At the end of the PowerPoint, we will also have time for some questions. So if you have some questions, please keep them in your heads, and we will have time at the end to have some questions that we raise. If you want to answer some questions, please put that in the chat function and we can get some answers to you immediately. So welcome to the Lower Primary PowerPoint. So let me first start by introducing myself and the new heads of year team. I'm Miss Bradley. I'm the assistant principal for Lower Primary. It's lovely to be here with you again this year. We have 3 new heads of year. Miss Sabitri is our head of year 1, our acting head of year 1. We have Miss Rowlings, who is the head of year 2, and Miss Arnott, she is the head of year 3. And later on the PowerPoint, they will introduce themselves a little bit more, give you some information about themselves, and they will also tell you a little bit of information about what that year group will look like in the coming year. Now, before we get to the year group information, we are just going to run through some information for you that you might find useful. Some of this information you might already know, some might be new to you. We'll have a look at each of the different sections together, and we will talk through each of the different slides. So we have the first slide, which is the school timings here at the Academy. So for year 1 to 4, we have a consistent timing at the start, which is drop off and pick up time on Monday to Thursday, 7:15 to 7:50. So any time between those times you can drop the children off. And the pickup time for year 1 to year 3 is 2:45. We really do hope that parents are prompt in picking up their children. It just saves some anxiety for children if they are having to wait at the end of the day. It's really useful if you pick up the children on time, so they're not having to stand and wait. We do offer a sibling club from Monday to Thursday. That's until 3 o'clock. So those of you that have children in the upper key stages in year 5 and 6, or indeed in secondary, where their day finishes at 3 p.m. or just after 3 p.m, you can have your children in sibling club until 3 o'clock. And then on Friday is our short day, and we have a pickup at 12 p.m. There are some slight changes to the uniform this next academic year. Have a look at the year 1 to 4 slide. All of the children are expected to wear the girls as a dress, or they have an alternative of the skirt and the blue blouse. The expectation is that the girls will also wear a crossover neckerchief or necktie. The boys will be in shorts or trousers and a shirt, and they will also be wearing a house tie. It's really important that the children come to school with their ties on, and they have their shirts tucked into their skirt or their shorts. The slight change to the uniform this year is that we are no longer allowing hoodies as a form of a jumper. We have some school jumpers that are already available at Threads, and I'll just skip through to show you the jumpers. The jumpers are not on here. So we have jumpers that are available for the children, but they don't wear the hoodies for the next academic year. The swimming suits are exactly the same. There's been no change to the swimsuits or the PE uniform. As you have just recently found out that the swimming now for year 1 to 3 will be in mixed classes. So therefore, the boys and the girls will swim together. If your child would like to wear a full swim suit covering the arms and the legs, that is also acceptable, as long as it is in black or navy. So there is no changes to the swimwear or the PE uniform this year. Now, the expectation for September is that all children will be using the Wellington bag. There are 3 different sizes of the Wellington bag. And the expectation is also that they bring in a notebook bag as well. Now, the notebook bag has been introduced this year to take care of children's iPads and devices, and also to carry in their reading books. So that will be enabling the children to walk around the school with their devices without the fear of them breaking or dropping. And those will be carried alongside the Wellington bag. The gym bag is also available from Threads. That is not a requirement. If that's something that you would like to get, you may. So our STS service is still continuing next year. In years 1 to 4, the buses arrive between 7:15 and 7:40, and they depart from school, if you're in the Business Bay area, at 2:50. That bus service will continue. Or if they are not in the Business Bay area, they will continue to get on the 3:20 bus. On a Friday, the bus will continue to depart at 12:15, so there will be no changes for that after that afternoon. So just some general information for you here at the Academy. Next academic year, full uniform must be worn and you must follow the uniform policy, okay? That includes bags and shoes. This information has also been in the weekly parents email briefing. We are not allowing black trainers either, so it is black school shoes. These can be bought from Threads. It is a Threads a school bag and a jumper. We have our Dress for Success stickers. So every day, the class teachers will continue to give out a Dress for Success sticker to those children that are really upholding the uniform with pride. The children may come in their PE kits on a PE day. That's to make it easier for them to change in and out of. If the children have a swimming lesson in the first period of the day at 8 o'clock, the children are allowed to come into their swimming kit. This makes it easier for them to change. However, if swimming is later on in the day, we do ask that the children bring in their swimming kit. It will enable the children to not have to sit in the school in the swimming kit all day. It's easier for when they want to go to the toilet, etc. So swimming in primary will be mixed gender starting in September. We've had an introduction to that this term, and that will be new again starting in September. Please make sure that when you are buying all of your equipment or school uniform, that you label all items. That includes shoes, lunch boxes, snack boxes, and most importantly, ties. That seems to be something that goes missing very frequently. Ties and jumpers are the one thing that children tend to lose quite easily. So please make sure that you have a name on those items. As we live in Dubai, it is very, very hot, especially at playtime. If it is too hot, obviously the children do not go out to play. However, there are some days where it is okay for the children to play, but the sun is still strong. Although we have shades, it's really important that children bring a hat in every day, and they can wear those for outdoor playtime. Also, if your children wear sunscreen in the morning, that will last them throughout the day. It will prevent them from getting any sun damage. It's really important that we encourage our children to attend school 100% of the time. Obviously, sometimes that's not always the case and children can become sick, or there might be a reason why they are not in. Can you please report their absence before 7:30 in the morning, just so the class teachers are aware of where the children are? And it means that we're not having to call you to find out what's happened. Pick up and drop off times, again, please try to arrive on time, especially for our younger children in the school. It's really important that they stick to routine and they know exactly when you're coming. Some children are a little bit more anxious than others and they get a little bit worried if parents are late. Of course, we try to reassure them and we make sure that they know that everything's going to be fine. But just if you are on time for pickup, it really does support our youngest learners. If you have any medical issues, any allergies, or anything that you feel that the class teacher or the school doctor needs to know, please can you report these to the school doctor and CC in the class teacher as well. It's really important that we're fully aware of any medical issues that your child has. Again, if you would like to pick up your child early for an appointment, or if they are not going to be on the bus, it is really important that you email the school and your class teacher before 11 AM. Our class teachers are thoroughly engaged in teaching your children and are not on our laptops. And I'm sure that would be something that you would that you're keen for the class teachers to do. That means that they're not checking their emails regularly at the end of the day, and they're actually teaching the children and with the children. So if you email before 11, it gives the teachers plenty of time to identify if your children are going to be picked up early, or if they are not on the bus. It's really important that you also contact STS if the children are not going to be on the bus as well, because they put together our bus registers. So that's just a little bit of information that's coming up that you might find useful. What we are going to do now is we are going to have a look at all of the contact information that you will find really useful here. Please don't feel like you need to take a photo or you need to scribble down these websites. We will send this PowerPoint out to you, make it available for you. So you can just click on the links and it will lead you directly to that person. So a lot of parents say that they would really like these email addresses of important people in our school. So these are links for you. Now I'm delighted to introduce you to our first head of year in Lower Primary. It's our year 1 head of year, Mr. Beatree. It's really lovely to have her joining us today. She's going to tell you through, talk you through some highlights that this year's year 1 children had taken part in, and also some important information that might be useful for you to prepare your children ready for year 1. So Mr. Beatree, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, it's really lovely to be a part of this meeting today, and I'm really looking forward to being the head of year 1. So I'm Mr. Beatree. I will be the 1A class teacher next year. And as I said, I'm really excited to become head of year next year. Now, I've been trained and I've taught in England, and I've been teaching for 8 years. For 6 years of that, I've been teaching year 1. So I've got a really good understanding of the curriculum and the expectations and what we're kind of looking at in terms of the progression from FS2 to the end of year 1. And that's something we really want to think about next year, and think about how the transition from FS2 to year 1 is really important. And we want to make sure that it's as smooth as possible for our youngest learners, because sometimes they do find it tricky coming from a play-based learning to a more formal learning. So at the beginning of the year, we will be starting similar to how FS2 are now, and then we will eventually build them up to becoming a more formal learning experience, which they will then continue into the other year groups. So I also want to talk about how you can prepare for year 1. Now, our first topic is going to be Animal Kingdom, which I know is going to be a really exciting topic, and we're going to focus on endangered animals and sea animals. And I know that's something you can also think about at home if you go to an aquarium or anything like that, kind of start getting them to think about it. You can also practice writing numbers to 10 with them and writing their alphabet, just to make sure that they're prepared for coming into year 1. Now, we've got some really exciting topics in year 1, and the children have absolutely loved the learning this year. We have had Animal Kingdom, We Can Be Heroes, and this term we've been thinking about Home from Home. Now, you can see on the PowerPoint there's lots of different pictures from this year. The children have been in the green screen room. We've done lots of writing and lots of things to do with our maths units, and the children have really enjoyed our fashion show that we did in term 2, where the children got to design their own superhero cape, and then they got to show off their superhero cape to the other year groups, and also we filmed it so that the parents could see as well. Now, all of us, Miss Rowlands and Miss Arnott, we've all got our top tips for years 1 to 3. So the main thing that I'm going to talk about is talk about reading. Now, reading is so important in any year group, but particularly our youngest children. We want them to feel confident in reading, and the more reading you can do, the better. So that we recommend that you read with your child for 20 minutes a day. And obviously then they can write this in their reading record. Now, it is important that you're not just reading with them, but you're asking questions, you're talking about the story, you're explaining what happened, and also you're trying to model the reading to them. So how are you speaking about the story and the speech and the phrasing and intonation? And also you can get the older brothers and sisters to help with that as well. Now, it doesn't just have to be reading a book, it can be reading a recipe. So if you're baking something, they can read that, or it could be reading a menu if you're going to a restaurant. So just bringing that in so that they are really, really confident readers. And I think that's really important for years 1, 2 and 3. So I'm going to pass you over now to the head of year 2, Mrs. Rowlings.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Breety. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Amy Rowlings, and I will be the class teacher for 2B next year. I will also be the head of year 2, which I'm absolutely delighted about, and we are so excited to welcome you to the Academy. You and your children. We have had the pleasure of meeting some of them already on the Step Up Day, which was wonderful. They were all very excited and enthusiastic about stepping up to year 2. So lovely to see all their smiling faces. Just a little bit about me. I have been teaching for 13 years now, both in Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. And 7 of those years I've been lucky enough to be here at the Academy, where I spent time in year 6 as a year 6 teacher and also head of year 6, and I moved to year 2 last year. So as Miss Breety was saying, it's great to know that progression of where the children have come from, but also where they're going to at the end of primary as well. In terms of how to prepare for year 2, I've got a couple of things here listed which would be really useful over the summer holidays. Do talk to your children about September. I know it may seem a long way off, but the summer holidays go fairly quickly. So just in conversation, casually, how they're feeling about their new school year, their teacher, building that excitement, what they're looking forward to doing, what they might need to remember to bring into school, and all of those things just in preparation for coming back in September. Some useful iPad apps that I've just noted here. If you're already with us in year 1, you will have login details for Busy Things and Numbots. Those are 2 great iPad applications which reinforce the core skills across all subjects. But also, if you don't have login details for those, the White Rose 1 Minute Maths is also a really great app that goes through all the different core skills for maths. So using those would be really useful as well over the summer. Our first theme in year 2 will be Take Me Away, which is a really exciting journey through space. I'm sure the children will absolutely love that. We'll be starting with the engaging text Man on the Moon, and Here We Are by Oliver Jeffers, which you may know already. But this will be linked across all areas of the curriculum. We'll have a reading corner based on space, and that ties in nicely with our reading rockets as well, which you can see on the screen there. That's an incentive for reading. As Miss Breety said, we really promote a love of reading across the whole school, and they seem to really enjoy working their way up that rocket. A few other highlights from the year you can see. It was hard just to pick a few photos because there's so many exciting things taking place, but you can see how we really encourage the children to apply their skills and knowledge across all areas of the curriculum, making lessons engaging and practical. You can see we were making some potions there outside when we were looking at capacity and measuring, and we're really lucky to have lots of great facilities here. So using the makerspace for their computing, we'll be using the green screen room as well, and all of those opportunities with technology. In terms of my top tip for years 1 to 3, I know this has been touched on briefly, but just encouraging where possible opportunities for real life learning experiences. You know, not always sitting them down to do some writing or number work, but trying to identify opportunities in everyday life whether it be at the shops or writing a list for the shops or reading signs and cooking, planting, any of those opportunities where you can bring in their learning and applying those skills outside of school. But we're so looking forward to seeing you all. I'm now going to hand over to Miss Arnott in Year 3. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Rowlings. Hi, parents, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have so many of you here listening and seeing how we can prepare your children as they continue with their primary journey. So thank you, Mrs. Rowlings. My name is Miss Arnott, and I feel incredibly excited to be leading as head of Year 3 next year. I've actually taught in Year 3 for quite a few years now. I believe I'm going into my 6th year teaching in Year 3. I've had experience in Years 1, 3 and 4. I've been lucky enough to lead as a head of year in Year 1 as well, but this will be the first year that I'm leading as head of Year 3, so a leadership role that I'm very excited to continue. So would it be okay to go to the next slide, Ms. Bradley? Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Bradley. Wonderful. So yeah, so as I'd mentioned before, I've previous experience across in Years 1, 3 and 4, and I've specialised in lower primary for the last 7 years. So I've taught in the UK for 4 years, and I'll be going into my 4th year teaching in Dubai this coming September. So how to prepare for Year 3? Well, we begin with a really exciting first theme, and it's called A Walk Through Time. And something that I'm really excited about to try out this year is we're going to lead up to a Walk Through Time exhibition. And that's something that we would really hopeful to invite parents to, and we'll be able to review the children's learning across the curriculum and see what they've been getting up to. We do start with an historical focus of the Stone Age, and I think just some of my highlight pictures, as we can see lower down the screen, we enjoy visits to the art room, and we made some Stonehenge pictures and paintings this year, which the children adored. I think any chance for the children to move around the school, and as Mrs. Rowling said, enjoy the facilities that we have here at the Academy, they are incredibly excited to do that. Also, something that will be new for the children as they start in Year 3 is bring your own device. That's what the BYOD stands for. And we are recommending that all devices purchased are Apple iPads. We find that the applications that we recommend for parents to use, they are able to use more so on an iPad as opposed to an Android device. We have had children where they may have difficulty accessing onto that application, and we just want to make sure the children are able to access those technologies as efficiently as possible. As I've just touched on there, we really want to make sure that we're moving with technology in the rapidly evolving world and making sure that we're enhancing engagement within our teaching as well as assessment within our classrooms. Now, bring your own device is something that the children will have to use within Years 3, 4, 5 and 6 as well. So that will continue through as the children move up through the different year groups. Now, new logins will be shared with parents at the start of the academic year, but just to mention to you now, some useful iPad apps. Century will be new for the Year 3 children when they begin in September as well. And this is the main application where we share home learning. And Century, I was new to Century the previous academic year, and I found it to be an incredible tool for teachers as well as for the students. It's a personalised app that tracks the children's progress, and it also helps them with areas that they might need further development on too. So this is definitely something where we're recommending an Apple iPad is fantastic to use with Century. Seesaw we use within Classroom as well, and this enables the children to record their voices through their learning. They can create digital posters. It's a really fun way for them to engage technologically. And also another app to recommend would be Times Table Rockstars. I think some of the children within maybe Year 2 have used previously. Currently, we've got the UAE Rocks competition, which is happening right now, and it's just a great chance to really engage the children and have a sense of competition within the school. And that's happening right now, which the children find incredibly exciting. So maybe some foundational number skills to work on over the summer, please, would be just to make sure that your children feel as confident as possible with practicing and securing their number bonds through to 10, but up to 20 as well. just making sure that they're really automatic with those skills and that they're able to feel confident with that, because we will just continue to progress and advance their number knowledge. Within years 2 as well, they should have known their 2, 5 and 10 times table. Of course, this is something that we can support them with as well, but if you are able to help them over the summer to really make them feel confident and secure in those 2, 5 and 10 times tables, that ensures they have a great start in year 3, so we can introduce the 3, 4 and 8 times table to the children as well. So one of my last points that I have on here that I will touch on in the top tip that I would like to share with you all is just to really help the children over the summer with their pace and their speed of maybe changing into PE uniforms. As Miss Bradley mentioned, the children, if they are having swimming later on in the school day, when they go to visit the swimming facilities that we have at the academy, they will need to change into their swimming kits. And we just really want to make sure the children are confident in doing that quite quickly and efficiently. We've got, as a lot of us have mentioned, incredible facilities here at the academy, and sometimes it can be quite a walk to and from the classroom to the swimming pool. So we just want to make sure that the children feel confident and they are competent in doing that. So as you can see, some of our year 3 highlights that we have at the bottom of the screen here, sort of the first, quite a few of them, if I just focus on the first left, we've got a great practical application of learning about perimeter in maths. Now, the year 3 children, for their breaks and lunch times, when we're safe to do so, when it's a cooler temperature, will be able to visit the upstairs playground. And here we've got some children enjoying measuring a perimeter. They'll use that with different units of measure, and here they're using a trundle wheel. We also really enjoy visiting the robotics suite, and we've used 2 robots this year in year 3. We've used a little robot called Kubo and also Ozobot, and we're able to link that learning through the curriculum. So we use that within maths learning too. They use positional and directional language. Thoroughly enjoy that, as you can imagine. And the third picture along here, we are enjoying some time in the art room. And the last 2 pictures is a real practical application of our science investigations. So we have the children learning about shadows, creating shadow puppets, and finally a bit more of a trickier concept of learning about the process of pollination, but they do that through acting out. Now, my top tip to share through years 1 to 3 is to really encourage your children with their independence as much as possible. And I think we understand, obviously, they're still young children, but really celebrate this with them and really make them feel proud of certain things they can do to get ready for the school day. So one could be maybe the evening before, organising their school bag to ensure that they have their reading books, their reading diary. Obviously, if they're in year 3, please make sure that their iPads are fully charged and they are packed in their bag, ready to go for the next day. This also, with the reading diary and the reading books, this will really ensure that we have a consistent, effective communication between the teacher and the parent, and then we can just check in and make sure that the children are practicing as much reading as possible. And also, as we've highlighted, really making sure that the children are celebrating in their uniform. And a phrase that we love to use is that they are dressed for success. And we really want them to feel proud of that. So making sure that their uniform's ready for the next day in school. And as I highlighted previously, if you could please help your children over the summer with just changing into their school uniform, maybe trickier parts with buttons and laces on school shoes if you opt for laces. Also, Velcro is great, but if you opt for laces, please just make sure that the children are confident in tying them. And as we've mentioned previously, making sure that they're ready for PE on their PE days and they have their swimming kits ready as well. And this is just a real chance to celebrate this with the children. We don't want to panic them, but just to really celebrate this with them and make sure that they're confident to start in their next year groups. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. And we would now like to open up for any questions at all. Please could you type them into the chat feature and we will do our best to answer them for you.
I know there has been a few common thread questions coming through with regard to threads and the uniform that they have sold there. One of the questions that are coming up is whether or not the school shoes need to be bought from Threads. They don't at all. You can purchase them from another number of school shoes shops. The only question that I would say is that make sure that they do follow the school uniform policy. Trainers with the Velcro straps will not be allowed. It needs to be formal school shoes. If anyone has any questions, please do feel free to put it in the chat. I know that now it might be a little bit overwhelming in terms of lots of information that's been given to you. However, at GEMS, Wellington Al-Khail, we really have placed a huge importance on parent communication. Our doors are always open to you. You have all of your new class teacher emails. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're here to help and support in any way we can, especially for our younger learners, those of you that are coming from FS2 into the primary school. It can be quite daunting and there might seem like there's a lot of questions that you have to ask. Please do reach out and ask. Nothing is too small. We want to make the transition as smooth as possible for every child going into the new year group. It can be scary and daunting, but it's also a very exciting time, an exciting time to meet a new teacher, meet new friends, and learn new things. So please feel free to reach out to any of us. We're here to help and support you. And if you have a question later on in the week, please do email your class teacher. So if you have any questions to email the individual teachers, please do so. Anything else to do with Threads, if you're having difficulty getting some of the stock from Threads, please do let us know. I can certainly call them and find out when the new stock is coming through. I think there are, please confirm to one C parents. So I have a question here for a particular year, classroom in 1C that we will answer to you separately because it doesn't involve any of the other parents, but I will answer that question for you, Miss Francesca. If you have no more questions, then it's been an absolute delight to have you all here. It's been a fantastic turnout. It's really lovely to see you all turning in to see the class teachers and finding out a little bit of information. Again, please reach out to us if you have any other questions or anything else that you would like to ask. It would be wonderful for you to put down any more questions in the chat and we can answer those. If not, we will say goodbye to you and wish you a lovely afternoon. And please look out into the weekly parents email for any other information. So thank you so much to all of the parents that have joined us today. We will put together this video and the PowerPoint and email it out to you so you can have that information there as well. Year 3 will still be using Padlet as a homework communication. They definitely will. All year groups all the way to year 6 from primary will use Padlet for their homework. A lovely comment there. The parents very happy to have Miss Arnott as their class teacher. I have to say she is a wonderful teacher, so you're very lucky. We have a wonderful set of teachers here at Wellington Al-Khail, all very experienced teachers, and they are super excited to see your children. They had a fantastic step-up day and they really enjoyed meeting their new class. And it's a very special time for all of the children and teachers, getting to know them and finding out a little bit about them. So thank you so much everyone for joining us. We will email out this PowerPoint for you in case you need any of the information at a later date. It was lovely to have you here and I wish you a very good evening. Goodbye everyone.